Strategist Christian Dorsey of the Economic Policy Institute. Christian, at this point, we looked at what happened with the Dow yesterday in the president's speech. He talked about jobs for veterans. Certainly, we want to see the nation's veterans get back to work, but we want to see a lot of people get back to work. And do you think that the president at this point needs to refocus his attention on the private sector and maybe get away from what has been focused on, which is the government being the hirer in chief?
Cheryl, I don't exactly share that same point of view. If you look at what's happened with public sector employment throughout this so-called recovery, it has decreased. Private sector employment has not grown sharply enough to really do any kind of damage to getting people back to work. So the issues that we have in the jobs market are far-reaching and are going to require a lot of different initiatives in order to get us over that hump. It's not just simply a matter of one thing or the other. It's really a matter of all of the above. And the reason that we have businesses that are really panicking when looking at the future has nothing to do with tax uncertainty. It has everything to do with demand uncertainty. Looking at the horizon and not seeing anything coming from Washington that's going to significantly improve the employment rate and therefore bring new customers to them, increasing demand and increasing their prospects.
I want to bring Michael Pinto into this. Michael, do you agree with Christian's point of view?
I do agree there is no demand, but why do you think there is no demand? Household sector debt as a percentage of GDP is at 92%. It has doubled since the early 80s. That's why there's no demand, because households have to deleverage. And what you're saying, what your argument, sir, is that the government needs to spend more money. Okay, so we increased our publicly traded debt by 90% in the last 4 years. So you want us to careen right towards Greece and Italy. Why do you want to do that? Let's just take our medicine, let's deleverage, and let's get back to a real economy before it's too late.
How does deleveraging get you back to a real economy?
Because you get demand then, sir.
How does withdrawing demand actually get you to where you want to go?
Because
Clearly, we have issues with people being over-leveraged as far as debt. That's not a modern phenomenon. That's something that's been building over the course of the decade. But the way you fix that issue is to get people employed and having incomes that grow faster than the rate of inflation so that they can pay down debt.
If I can interject to both of you, if I can interject here for a moment, we just got breaking news, gentlemen, that from Fitch, that consumer credit had actually, the consumers are saving more, they're paying off their debt quicker. So the American consumer is taking action. The people of the country are taking action. It's not coming from Washington. It's almost like if you build it, they will come, Christian, and that is that let the private sector create jobs. Let consumers figure out if they need to deleverage themselves. Why does this have to be Washington policy, which so far, I even go back to stimulus, Christian, has not worked?
Well, Cheryl, explain to me. We've had stimulus which has winded its way out of the economy, and for the better part of the last year, this has been a private sector recovery, and it has not produced in the aggregate jobs faster than the rate of additions to the labor force.
Better than the government's job creation.
Well, because government is contracting at the same time, Cheryl. Government is contracting.
Not the federal government. State and local governments were contracting.
Yeah.
So when the government borrows money, where do they get that money from, sir?
It's in treasuries, which are right now cheaper than they've ever been. It's still the safest haven.
No, but where does the money come from?
It comes from investors.
It comes from the private sector, or it's printed. So it's a deferred tax on future consumption with interest. So you're not deleveraging at a nation at all.
Yeah, but what does deleveraging get you? Tell me, what does deleveraging get you at this point? How does that improve the bottom line?
And that's what
How does it do that? Explain it.
Because when the household balance sheet is repaired and the government's balance sheet repaired, then you can start a sustainable recovery. Until then, you cannot do that because people are selling assets and paying down debt.
Christian,
they can't create jobs when they're selling assets and paying down debt.
Christian, I gotta go, but thank you so much. It's always great to talk to you, and thank you for coming on. Big day, of course, for the markets. Thank you, Christian Dorsey, Economic Policy Institute, good friend of the show.